Well, hey guys, welcome to the 716 Sports Entertainment Podcast. And boy, oh boy, did we make it to the divisional round, Bills fans. Took those Jaguars in Duval County down 27 to 24, your Buffalo Bills. And your quarterback, Josh Allen, boy, oh boy, did he look good. Another vintage three touchdown, no turnover performance from the quarterback, the real MVP of the league, Joshua Allen. And we're here to break it all down for you. As always, I am Mike, joined by Mr. T. Reese and Mr. Sean O'Neill. And fellas, on to Denver.
1 week at a time. On to Denver.
Yes, yes. It's great to see everyone eating crow today and bowing down to the true king.
Josh
Yeah.
Josh should change his nickname to Wild Card.
Seriously, dude doesn't lose in the wild card round. It is a joy to watch. And I mean, you saw the stats that were flying around all week and everything else that people were saying about the Bills, and everybody was picking the Jags this week. And there's a lot to talk about, a lot to break down with this game. But first, like overall, just how are we feeling? Like, how are you? I mean, we feeling good. Like like I feel like that was the biggest, I guess monkey on the back of getting to the Super Bowl, for this team, because everyone was saying that Jacksonville was really like the toughest team in the field, right, of the AFC. And think so far, looking at the games, especially the one last night between the Patriots and the Chargers, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Um, I mean, just what a spectacular win for this team. And I mean, I got a lot of thumbs up to give to a lot of people on the roster of this team, and I really want to start with not just Josh, but the defense. I give the defense a lot of props, and I know we like to on this channel, we've been hard on this defense this year, but there were some real standout performances. I want to give Trey White a lot of credit. He played real well. Milano played real well. And I mean, Cole Bishop and Shaq Thompson, incredible. Absolutely incredible games out of these guys. And we've seen what this offense at Jacksonville can do, and these guys stepped up and they looked great. They played an excellent game, and I'm really very pleased with how well they did.
Tre'Davious White looked several years younger out there than he has in the past. I mean, he was showing speed that we haven't seen in a while. He almost had an interception that would have been a fantastic pick had he been like an inch closer. And my only complaint about the defense was that they still let up some big runs. Um, Given the fact though that Jacksonville kind of got away from the run game, I think that they kind of shot themselves in the foot with that. But I'm happy. The Bills pass defense played as good as they've played all season, and they came through when they needed to. Like you like to say, T, all it takes is one stop, and they got that one stop.
That's it. I mean, you got to give hats off. See, this is what you want in playoffs. You want your team to play its best at this time of the year. And right now, the defense is playing the best than it's been all season. And that secondary, I mean, we still question it, whether or not they're as good as the statistics say. But apparently, I mean, they're proving they are. Even without having a ferocious pass rush and everything, that secondary, I mean, it's taking quarterbacks. You don't see very many quarterbacks drop back and just releasing on them. Like they have to look for somewhere to throw the ball. Yeah, I mean, we can just unite a really good, even a decent pass rush. We probably would. The defense would be lights out right now. But I mean, also you got to commend the fact that Shaq Thompson with a pick. I mean, look at that. He picks off a ball. Milano making plays with in the backfield against the run. Your boy Russo and another great
You
run
mean
tackle.
your boy Russo?
Yeah, another great run tackle that he got up and celebrated about. Um, but either way, I mean, it was a great team effort. And what more can you say about Josh? I mean, Lamar, take notes, okay? He banged his hand on another helmet, came back, flicked the ball 20 yards down the field.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, like Lamar's coming off the field off of a hit on his arm, and he doesn't want to play for 3 weeks. This is what makes champions, and Josh is showing that he is a championship quarterback. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, right now he is the best quarterback in the NFL, the best. There's no one even close to him right now with everything he brings. And the thing is with Vegas, you know, they go off of statistics, based off of how bets are going. But the one thing everyone, including all the talking heads, they forget is Josh Allen affects other coaches. It's not
Yep.
even other quarterbacks or players. It's the coaches he affects. And the reason why people were questioning why Jacksonville didn't stop running the ball, they were scared of Josh. They were scared of Josh.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to get stalled out on any type of drives. Jacksonville's a throwing team. I mean, they don't run that much anyway. I mean, you're asking the team to do something that it doesn't normally do. And Josh put the pressure on them because he wasn't going away. So they felt like they had to rush to get touchdowns because they just didn't know if their defense could stop them.
Mm-hmm.
And with Josh, our offense is methodical. It's chip, 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 boom, chip, 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 boom. Jacksonville's not like that. They're trying to eat big yardage. They're trying to throw the ball down the field, things like that. And it's hard for a quarterback who's not used to having to dink and dunk down the field. And that's what happened. And then the one time he tried to really dink the ball, it got picked off. That's the play that's behind me right now. That was the one time he tried to get rid of it on the first read and dink it into somebody, and it didn't work. It didn't work. He felt the pressure from the line. He did have Washington coming over the top, but he didn't have time. I mean, I hear some people in the news talking about, some of the talking heads. Oh well, if he waited a tick longer, he couldn't wait a tick longer. The offensive line was getting pushed into him. He couldn't wait any longer. If he waited any longer, he's taking a sack there, which is the worst thing for them to happen with no timeouts.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And another thing I want to point out as well, it's really great to see Matt Prater healthy as well. I mean, we're going to get into the kicking stuff a little bit here when we actually go through the game in a second here, but Matt Prater, 50-yard bomb, 47-yard field goal. I mean, all of his extra points, perfect on the day. Great to see. Great to see that. And I mean, their superstar, Mr. I can make a 70-yard field goal kicker, maybe not so much. But let's break down the game. So in the first quarter, the only scoring was a 50-yard Matt Prater field goal per mention. In the second quarter, the Jags struck first with a Trevor Lawrence touchdown pass to Brian Thomas Jr., which was a really nice play. It's a very, very nice play. I mean, they just got beat there. But the Bills got the ball back shortly after that, and Allen led the team down a 92-yard, 10-play drive for a 2-yard touchdown run by Allen, which that was the drive where he got that real nasty like head bump where he had to go in for with the head concussion thing, but thank God he was okay there. And then this halftime was about to approach, and if I'm not explaining my moving camera,
Sorry.
Sean,
Sorry, I'm having an issue.
Guys having like a stroke over here. If I'm not explaining this correctly, please guys feel free to jump in. But I thought each quarter was 15 minutes long, not 15 minutes and 1/10 of a second long. So if I'm mistaken about the rules, please, I want you guys are the experts. Please correct me on that. But with that being said, Jacksonville gets the ball back with, I don't know, 20 something 28 seconds left or whatever, no timeouts, right? And they complete one play and it's like 15 some odd seconds left. And then there's another play, gets down to like 9 or 8 seconds left. And then they chuck the ball from like wherever they were on the 26-yard line or the 31-yard line of their own all the way to like our 45. And somehow in 9 seconds, they get all the way down there. I'm sorry, 9 and 1/10 of a second, all the way down there and proceed to snap the ball. The league and Las Vegas have to get on the phone to determine if we're going to give them a shot to make a field goal here, which to me was absolutely ludicrous because you saw as clear as day by the replay that the ball was not snapped until after the game clock went to zero. And the Bills got a defensive penalty, which put 1 second back on the clock, and they had claimed that the ball was snapped, prior to there being 0 seconds on the clock. I don't know. And they got a chance to kick a field goal, which I think karma came in and caused them to miss it. I am not a karma guy, but man, oh man, I am glad that this is not the conversation that is going all across sports media all day today about how the NFL and Las Vegas stepped in to make an attempt to fix a playoff game, because that is really what that felt like. A lot. Am I going
Sure.
crazy here? But like, I mean, I want you guys to give me your thoughts.
The other question I have too is, I might be wrong on this, but doesn't the offensive line have to be set for a second before they can snap it?
Well, I don't know. There's been a lot of talk of that. So I believe if they're not substituting anyone and they just line up on the ball, they can snap the ball whenever they're ready.
Okay.
So, but then there's also, I heard that, I hear of that rule that you have to be set for a half a second or a second like that before the ball can be snapped. I believe that's only if, like I said, after substitutions.
Okay.
Well, somebody can't just substitute on the field. You can't swap a bunch of guys out and get on the ball and then just snap it. You have to allow the defense to adjust to what you're doing. So I don't know if that fell into play there, but you're right. I'm a bit shocked that that's not being brought up. That was an egregious call. We all seen it nationally. The broadcast even showed that the ball wasn't even snapped. At he still had it in his hand at 0 seconds, and to just mysteriously just pretend that we didn't see that, and to say, "Oh well, it's a penalty on the Bills," is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And if there's anything anyone should be talking about, is that particular play, because that was, again, I don't know. I very well could be Vegas that called in. We all have our own theories on that, but it was just egregious. I just need to know. We don't have a firm understanding of when New York is supposed to be involved with these calls, when's New York not supposed to be involved. It's like hit or miss every game. Like, remember, every game this season, you just don't know when New York is going to call, which it shouldn't be like that, right?
No,
You shouldn't have to sit here and hope New York calls. You know what I mean? They're supposed to be there to back up the referees. That's what they instilled this particular program in for. And it seems like they only use it whenever they feel like they need to use it. Everything like that particular play. There was no reason that they should be able to make that call. The ball was still in his hand, clearly at 0 seconds.
Yep.
And they just pretend nothing to see here.
Yeah, I'm so angry about that. Like, I am so, so glad that they won and that was not the deciding factor of the game. Because we would be spending the entire offseason just convinced that this team's never going to win because the league doesn't want them to win. And that would be the narrative, right or wrong. That would be the narrative for a lot of Bills fans. For a lot of Bills fans, like yes, there's a lot of conspiracy theorists out there on the internet, but man, oh man, it would be really hard to deny that. Like, you listen, everybody who listens to us and listens to our Bills videos, I'm sure they listen to those jokers on WGR, and I'm sure they listen to a lot of the national heads. And I know the national heads would never go against the big machine, but the local guys will. The local guys
Yeah.
have definitely called out the officials quite a bit. And, I do sometimes I give those guys a little bit of crap because they're not, some of them are homers a bit too much, but that's fine. I'd rather a homer than not. But with that being said, that would be the narrative until September. That's all you would hear. And it's not a good look. It is not a good look for the league at all. And I'm just glad that the universe corrected itself there.
I mean, the officiating in this game wasn't particularly great as it is. it definitely felt like it was skewed a little bit more Jacksonville's way than it should have. They were getting away with some questionable hits, and there was some judge rulings that feel like they should have been overturned that weren't. But the Bills overcame them, which is the important part.
Well, like the play that Gabe Davis got injured on a little bit
Yeah,
later in the game. Like, I don't understand how that's not a personal foul at all. I mean, that was, I don't want to
targeted
use
his
the
knee.
word, I don't want to use the word dirty, but good, that was not a good play. Like, you don't do that. You don't go for a guy's leg like that. That's not okay. That's targeting. And
You know, it's not
I
even
don't
that.
want,
I mean, don't forget there was three of them. There's two
yeah.
dudes, two guys coming from the side, which were basically holding him up, and then you
Mhm.
get that little clown that hits him in his knee. And they
Yeah,
were doing
I
the
don't
That
like
same
that.
thing to Josh. I mean, the Jacksonville was playing dirty in this one. My understanding is you can't pull your weight down onto another player. And that's how
nope.
Yeah.
Josh kept getting hurt. They kept pulling their weight. They would hold his jersey and pull their body weight down on him. I mean, I understand the horse collar, but if you're inside that pocket and you're going short there, you got a pile of bodies, and you get two of their defensive players just hooking on to John Allen's jersey and pulling, even after the whistle, still pulling their weight down on his jersey to pull him down. Come on, you got to throw some flags. And
Yep.
they were doing cheap shots all game.
Yep.
It definitely felt like they were trying to hurt Allen
Oh
multiple
yeah,
times.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So the third quarter then kicked off a pair of field goals for both teams. Going into the fourth quarter, it's 13-10 Bills. And then there were technically five lead changes after that final set of field goals there. Trevor Lawrence passed to Parker Washington for a 6-yard touchdown, put Jacksonville up 17-13. Josh Allen with a beautiful ball to Dalton Kincaid on a 9-play, 65-yard drive. That was something else, that pass to Kincaid. I mean, it was perfect. Absolute perfect ball. Put the Bills up 20-17. And then the very next drive, um, the Jaguars had Trevor Lawrence to ETN Jr. for a 14-yard touchdown pass, put the Jags up, and then going down, the Bills then would get the 1-yard Allen rush with a minute and change left to ice it 27-24, to which we know then the Jags would throw that pick to Cole Bishop to ice out the game. One of the things I wanted to ask you about on that final play of the drive, because I've heard some people talking about this as well, and I wanted to get your guys' take. So the Bills are on the 1-yard line after Allen does that tush push where he kind of drags the pile for like 9 yards there to the 1-yard line, and they end up giving it to him like outside of there. At that point, Jacksonville uses its last timeout, right? And it's just like a minute 4, a minute 10 left on the clock. Now, you're the Bills and you've got two timeouts left there at that point. Do you think them just going in and scoring there is the correct play on first and goal at the 1? Or do you think now looking, I mean, obviously hindsight is 2020. We're like everything that happened and they won. But should they right there, and T, I want to call on your coaching expertise here a little bit. Should they have taken a knee there and then called a timeout with like 25 seconds left and then proceeded to just tush push three times?
Well, I was a bit upset too because we had our group chat and we were chatting during the game and whatnot. So initially at that point, I thought that for sure I would have had Josh Allen take a quick snap, take a knee, eat off 25 seconds off the clock, and then do three tush pushes. But then listening to McDermott explain it, I get it because during the season you can probably do that, but in the playoffs, every mistake can hurt you. So what if you do get it offsides on that play?
Yeah.
Now it's no longer now it's not first and goal at the 1 no more. Now you're 5 yards, you're 6 yards away from the goal line, which changes everything completely for you for it to be an easy touchdown. So I get it. I get it absolutely. So, and the fact of they forced them to burn that timeout, which is primarily what the goal is, to make them burn that timeout so they have nothing to use, then I get it. So I guess either way, I guess you couldn't really go wrong in that situation, especially with it being in the playoffs. So at the time that I first saw it, I was pretty ticked off. I thought for sure that we should have probably just, even if Josh just dove at the ground before he even got to the goal line, I don't even care. Right behind the line, just dive at the ground and just, eat the seconds off the clock. But I get it. I get it. Because, I mean, you're on the road. And we've had a couple of false starts in that game. That's probably the one spot you probably don't want to risk it on. Just go ahead, get the touchdown. Because Jacksonville's giving it to him either way. So even after the 25 seconds, they would have just, I mean, granted, it would have took pretty much almost all the time off the clock for him by then. But I do like the low risk of just going and taking it.
Sean, was there anything you wanted to add there?
No, he explained that perfectly. I was mad that they didn't do it, but the fact that anything could have happened there, I mean, a false start, a bad snap, it was probably that's hindsight, it was the smart play just to score.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's interesting. I just want to talk about it. But obviously that sealed it up. And then there was that beautiful Cole Bishop interception right on the pretty much the very next play once Jacksonville got the ball back. And awesome. Overall, good team win. Very, very little to be upset about. I think, we talked about the run defense a little bit. That definitely needs to improve. A little bit of imagination on the play calling too. A lot of the same stuff that we've seen. I don't love the screen, although it seemed to work a little bit better. I think, circumstantial with the opponent too, to not seeing a big day out of James Cook, which I imagine might be a little bit different this week when they go into Denver, because I know Denver's rush offense is not nearly as good as their pass offense or their pass defense, excuse me. So I have a feeling we're going to see a better day out of James Cook this weekend than we did, obviously, on yesterday.
Well, don't forget, I mean, the pattern for James Cook this season was every time we ran into a team that stopped him, that final week he blows open for like 150 yards. So I
Yeah.
expect the same thing to happen this week. So they need all hands on deck on this one now. I mean, you're going to higher altitude. It's going to be a little bit of a tougher environment than playing in Jacksonville. Probably a lot more tougher than playing in Jacksonville, the crowd and everything, because they do have a fan base. And the oxygen
Yeah.
levels are much lower. I probably expect the Bills to probably go up there earlier than they normally do. Normally they go into those. My understanding is they normally on the road like to show up on Saturday afternoons rather than
Yeah.
Friday afternoons. So I probably would expect that they're going to probably go up there Thursday. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Sean may very well just say, because Sean kind of goes against the trend when it comes to traveling. He may just go Friday, Friday night and get in there on Saturday morning. But I probably expect them to probably leave Friday morning, if anything, to get down there to at least get themselves used to the altitudes that are going on down there. But I listened to Shannon Sharp's his podcast today and talking about Josh, and he was nervous. Like you can see him. Ocho Cinco was trying to talk him off the ledge, but he's like, I don't want to have anything to do with him. He said, I don't want him to have to come to Denver. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people feel that way. So let's holler back at the Jacksonville fans. Right? I thought I was going to say Duval. You guys were running around running your mouths like you guys had won the Super Bowl already. And look what happened. You got spanked like he spanks everybody else. So stop it. You don't have Josh Allen on your team. All right? Lawrence is nothing even close. As you can see, my quarterback versus your quarterback, not even close. Mm-hmm. Not even close. So you guys can, prop him up, get him all the help he can possibly get, but he'll never be Josh Allen.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, I don't think there's anybody. I mean, I don't love to listen to the talking heads, but I mean, what's his face? Colin Cowherd, I think he says it best when he talks about Josh Allen. I mean, physically, he's the most gifted quarterback I've ever seen play the position. And I don't think it's close. I don't think it's close. I think he's better. I think he's better than anybody. Yeah, the MVP might be a stat award, but Josh Allen's the MVP.
Yep.
Like, I mean, Josh Allen's the MVP. If we're talking about intangibles and who is the actual best player in the league, it's Josh Allen.
Well, I think
and
Josh
player
goes in there. Oh, go ahead, Sean.
And the single player that means the most to their team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it rarely ever goes to that person. But
no, yeah.
But I think in this situation, though, Josh beats Denver this week. He still has a shot at the MVP. They ain't been awarded yet. He has
But
another
somebody,
game like this against a top defense.
The regular season award, though, isn't it?
yeah, I thought they voted before that, before the playoffs.
Did they already vote?
Yeah, I think they
I
already
thought they
voted.
do.
Well,
The regular season award, I think.
oh, you're right. I think you are right. But either way, I think everyone's head that knows that he's pretty much the guy in the league. There's
Yeah,
no
I
one
mean,
else better. When I'm watching, Coward eating crow, last night after all the games played, I can't stand him. I just can't. The guy, I mean, it's a different opinion every week.
yeah.
Like he doesn't ride one narrative. He changes the narrative every week. And it's so annoying. I watched Ocho eating crow today. His host was going in on him because remember Ocho was like, Josh Allen, he's gonna do this. Jacksonville's gonna go in there and run all over him. And he ate crow today. They got in him on the show. He couldn't respond to anything. He's trying to make lame excuses why he said this and why that. Stop it. This is why you get yourselves put in a hole. This is why people stop watching you on TV because they don't believe anything that comes out of your mouths. And the thing that's annoying to me is with these talking heads is why? Football answers for itself. You don't even need these clowns to talk the way they do. You don't. You don't need the Ryan Clarks to come out. And it's embarrassing to me that former NFL players would talk like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I get it if you get like a Skip Bayless or anyone
Nick Wright.
Yeah, if you get somebody like that who's never played in the sport, I get you to say just weird, crazy, off the wall stuff. But to have a fellow brethren who's just saying the most ridiculous things about you as if they've never played the sport before, I think that's sad. I think it does a big disservice for all sports talk.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So, any final thoughts, guys, before we break down the other games, and then we'll look ahead to our opponent next week?
I'm looking forward to seeing what else the Bills can bring to the table this coming week. It would be nice to see that running game get going because it was, I think, the only thing that was missing out of their this big win.
Yeah, I think one game at a time. We need
Yep.
to get Josh treated. I need his body, fixed up the best that he can. Again, my understanding, as much as he's not showing it, from what all reports are saying locally, that dude's foot's hurting. His foot's hurting. And now he's got what? Maybe a knee or a hip now, finger. I'm pretty sure this dude spent the entire day today at the facility in the treatment rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's anybody who should be spending all day in the treatment rooms, it's probably Josh right now because he took a beating that first half yesterday.
Good.
And I just don't want Brady. Brady, let's slow down on the design runs for Josh.
No more of those.
The only way they work is if the defense is in man. Most teams aren't playing man no more because they don't want to take eyes off of Josh Allen. So they're playing zone, particularly because of that. And I love how people sit there and say, oh, well, how come Jacksonville didn't play man? You can't against Josh Allen. You can't. As soon as those guys take their eyes off of the quarterback and that hole opens up, there's nobody to stop them.
No, you get him in open space, he's going to jump over a guy.
That's it. He's going to do it every single time. I take Josh Allen one-on-one with any player on that defense.
Yeah.
So if you want to play man, go ahead. Because all you're doing is playing in Josh's favor. He doesn't even have to throw the ball.
Yeah.
So I just need to get Josh healthy. Let's get James Cook involved in the offense this week. Because it did seem like they weren't even really trying to run James Cook, right?
No.
Like they give him a run in the first down, then he comes off the field, and then they're throwing for two. So it's almost like they didn't even plan on establishing a run in this game. I think they were pretty much planned on throwing the ball more than they were going to run in this game. Because there was no indication they were trying to establish a running game in this one.
When you know that you're going up against the number one rushing defense in the league, you probably plan to go around that.
Yep.
So the Saturday slate saw first the Los Angeles Rams defeat the Carolina Panthers in what turned out to be a much better game than it had any business being. I give Carolina a lot of props. I mean, I never thought that the Rams were in any danger of losing this game, even when the Panthers went ahead late with a couple minutes left on the clock. But I mean, this was not a blowout at all. This was actually a very entertaining, great way to start off Wild Card weekend. This was an absolutely spectacular game, and it was better than it had any business being. And the Rams certainly don't look invincible, and Carolina looked pretty good, all things considering.
I think you can thank the league too for keeping this game closer than it should have been.
You want to elaborate?
There were a lot of calls where they were going Carolina's way. There was a lot of non-calls. It just felt like they wanted this to be a closer game and not a blowout.
Well, I don't know. So I can't tell you you're wrong, but Carolina did beat them during the season, didn't they?
Yes.
They
So
did.
I mean, there was already a familiar foe that they already beat once. So I expected a tough. I'll be honest with you. I didn't expect the Rams. I expected the Rams to just score on them as payback for that loss. But I'll eat my crow. Panthers proved me wrong. They put together a hell of a game. They honestly did. They just don't have Matthew Stafford. That was the difference.
And for some reason,
Well,
they weren't running Rico Dowdle.
yeah, I don't know what that's all about. I mean, they do seem to keep running or relying more on Chuba Hubbard. I don't understand why Dowdle they tend to get away from him. Maybe he's nursing an injury we don't know about, and he was going to be on some sort of play count. I don't know. This time of the year, most of these guys are banged up, and they're not. You don't know about all their injuries. That's the only thing I can think of is that maybe he was banged up somehow, some way, and he just he was on a play count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They definitely passed the ball a lot more than they ran it though. Both teams did. And Matthew Stafford had 42 pass attempts in this game, and Bryce Young had 40 versus, 18 total rushes for the Panthers and 25 for the Rams. But the one thing I wanted to say about this game, and it is really cool, uh, Nakua dude is a beast. Like he can just get open anywhere on the field, and he is really, really fun to watch. I mean, I am so jealous of their coaching staff for the Rams because man, oh man, getting like he's a fifth round receiver, right? I mean, just being able to scheme a guy like that and just being able to do the things that they do with that offense, it is really, really fun to watch. And Nakua is a really special player, and it was very enjoyable to watch them play him. And then some other guy I've never heard of for the Panthers called Coker. Yeah, he was pretty exciting too.
Mhm.
The got a shout out to the resurgence that Devontae Adams had this year. Especially prior to getting hurt. I know this particular playoff game he was getting worked back into the lineup, but Adams has had a career year, and I think that now that he's back in there, I think this next game for the Rams, you're going to see a lot more out of him.
Mhm. Then
Yeah, I
the
do like the. Oh, I'm sorry.
no, go
Just real
ahead, go
quick.
ahead.
I do like the fact that Nakua is willing to put his body on the line. The only problem with that is those type of wide receivers' careers don't last that long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he takes some shots, he takes some nasty falls. Um, he is a hell of a route runner. But see, the McVay offense is designed to be quarterback and wide receiver friendly. So I mean, think about it. Everyone that's off of his tree all run that same type of offense. You just got to run crisp routes. Problem with that offense is that they're mostly all timing routes. So this is why McD is usually pretty successful against those teams because he's very good at disrupting timing. So that's why Tua really struggles against the Bills. It's just coming
Yeah.
from the same tree. They're all timing routes. It's just the West Coast type of offense. So, you're looking at 1, 2, 3. This guy should be here, here, here. And if you disrupt that timing, it forces the quarterbacks to have to figure out who the open guy is, which takes longer for him to process. And by that time, you're hoping your defensive line gets there to maybe get a sack on him or something. But I do like Nakua. I really really like that kid. Um, like I said, I'm just worried about the longevity of that guy because he takes some nasty spills when he catches certain balls. He'll turn his body in every direction possible to make a catch.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, completely agree. The night game was the second NFC bout between the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears, and going into the fourth quarter, it was 21-6 Green Bay, and Green Bay somehow found a way to blow it. I went to sleep actually at the start
Mm-hmm.
of the fourth quarter because I was like, "Oh, this game's over the way Chicago's playing."
Guilty.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, this game's over the way like because Chicago looked terrible going into the fourth, like literally going into the fourth quarter, and I was like, this game's so over. And I wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning to see that Chicago won 31-27 because Caleb played out of his mind the basically the entirety of the fourth quarter. And good for Chicago. Good for Chicago coming back, getting a win. And I think a lot of what happened was just the injuries of caught up with Green Bay. I mean, too many injuries on defense, Parsons not being there, Tucker Kraft not being there. I mean, that's a tough road. That's a tough ride, man. And you know, the Bears definitely got lucky, and but their coach is real good, and I give Caleb a lot of props. I don't know how they're going to fare against the Rams this week. I think their season probably ends this Sunday, whenever that game happens to be. But yeah, good for the Bears. I'm very happy for them.
Well, the
I
Bears,
just
on the
like
other
you.
hand, I don't. I went to sleep just like you did. I said, that's it. This game's over. I'm not going to waste my time. I thought the games wouldn't reverse of what I thought they were going to be. So I thought for sure that type of game was going to be the Panthers game. I thought they were going to come back with a vengeance and smoke the Panthers, and it just completely went the opposite way. This game was just I was stunned at how fast that got out of hand in the first half. And that's my fault for just like, well, I fell asleep either way, but I did not expect to wake up to see that they came back and won that game. I mean, everyone's giving Caleb all the props. You got to give that defense the props. They only
Yeah,
allowed them to score 6 points in the second half
yeah,
total. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't ask anything more of your defenses to hold somebody. You're down 3 possessions at half. You need your defense to make stops. You need to force field goals, allow your offense to get back on track, and they did that. That was that's what you could. It was like the Bills. Second half, all of a sudden, everybody turns it on,
yeah. The Packers' offense looked lost in the second half, and their defense couldn't stop a nosebleed in the fourth quarter.
and it was in Green Bay, wasn't it? No, it was in Chicago,
No, it
right?
was in Chicago. It was in
Yeah, it was
Chicago.
Chicago.
in Chicago. So you know, the conditions were out there. I mean, the game. I did not expect it to go that way. I admit it. I was shocked.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
I don't really have anything to add. I stopped watching at the half myself as well. So
The takes us to the second game yesterday, the 4:30 game on Fox between the 49ers and the Eagles. And the 49ers come away with a big upset, 23-19 over the Philadelphia Eagles. And the one thing I want to say about, and I watched this game in its entirety, the one thing I will say about this game, I think, is coaching matters a lot. And the reason I say that is because you look at the Philadelphia Eagles and you look at that roster, and then you look at the San Francisco 49ers and you look at all the injuries and the roster and the fact that Kittle went down with an Achilles in that game, and the fact that Mac Jones started 8 games for that team this year and they were one win away from being the 1 seed. And to go into the defending Super Bowl champions house as a 5.5 point, 6 point underdog in some spots and outcoach them and just beat them, just straight up beat them. And I think there's been problems with the Eagles all year, and I think the biggest problem the Eagles have is coaching. You got your head coach arguing with your star wide receiver, like right on national television, and there's no imagination at all. I don't think Jalen Hurts is very good. Play calling is not the best at all. I mean, they got a lot of studs on that defense, and I think that's the only reason that the game was close. I think if their defense was middle of the pack, I think San Francisco would have lit them up. Sean, you're on mute.
I think that, I mean, like you said, the Niners were one game away from winning the entire NFC. It sucks that Kittle went down. He's such a huge part of their offense. But I think that I could see the San Francisco going all the way. If anybody can beat Seattle next week, I think it's them. And I think that Philly has a lot of cleaning up to do during the offseason. Like you said, you can't have your head coach and your star receiver fighting on the sideline. And Jalen Hurts is a bum. I'm sorry. Everybody acts like Jalen Hurts is this amazing quarterback, and he's really not. He isn't super accurate. I mean, if you look, the biggest example of Hurts, I think, this year and how not good he is the Chargers game, where I mean, the guy had two turnovers on one drive. Like, I think he's incredibly overrated, and I think Philly needs to go back to the drawing board.
Well, I mean, if there's anything we know about Philly, they don't waste any time when it comes to players. So I wouldn't be shocked if they were to trade. Well, AJ Brown more than likely is going to get traded in the offseason.
Yes.
Do not shock yourself just so they can get draft picks to move up in the draft. They trade off one of those defensive tackles.
I can see it.
They do it. I mean, Philly doesn't waste time. They don't hold allegiance to anyone in their organization. So I can probably see one of those tackles. Got because they're going to pay them both. They're both 1 year apart from each other. So they're going to get stuck with a contract for both those guys. So both those guys are worth over $100 million. So I can probably see one of those guys getting moved. I would be shocked, let's say that if one of those guys moved. But I think the problem is, and I know what you're saying, Mike, in terms of the 49ers compared to the Eagles rosters. But there is something to be said when you have a hot head coach and a bunch of alpha players on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And that team has, you probably won't hear it that much, but there is a such thing as too much talent on a roster because everybody's going to want to eat.
Yep.
And if someone's getting more food than the other, you're going to hear about it. And then you have a head coach who has zero control of his emotions, screaming at his star receiver. Now, the first one for AJ Brown, the first pass, probably not catchable. I mean, it was pretty far in front of him. The second one was a catchable ball. It was a tough angle, but AJ Brown should make that catch.
Yep.
But for your coach to run down the sideline as you're coming out there and screaming at the top of his lungs like that in front of the national media, that's a no-no. That's a no-no. You can't do that, especially a guy who you already know you don't have the best relationship with.
Not a good look.
No.
Yeah, they're definitely like you're absolutely right, Reese. Like I am 100% of the mind that dude is going to be on a different team next year. He might be on the Patriots next year.
No, maybe Buffalo.
Yeah, maybe.
I got a theory.
You
My guess is that Buffalo will make a trade either an offseason to draft, and you're going to get one of these three wide receivers. It's going to be A.J. Brown or Jefferson or Waddle. It's going to be one of those three. That's who I think Bean is going to pinpoint to try and snatch out.
I could see it. They do think that, I think there's going to be a lot of movement. It's a lot for a lot of these teams, and I think some teams are going to actively try to be bad next year. I think Miami is one of them.
I think the Vikings are going to be another one.
Yeah, I do too.
And I think if you drop, because right now they don't have a quarterback, so you're wasting your money with Jefferson right now.
Yep.
I mean, the guy didn't even. I mean, did you hear anything from him this year? It seemed like he didn't even play this year.
Yeah, and those two teams, Miami and the Vikings, they won too many games this year to be able to draft high enough to pick a quarterback.
Exactly. So they're kind of hurting themselves. They're going to have to move some players if they want to change their rosters around. And I don't think there's nobody in the report saying they're not satisfied with McCarthy, with JJ. So, they may be very well trying to get another quarterback, but they're going to have to move some players and get some draft capital in order to do it.
Yep. Yep. And then the nightcap, which was the worst game of the weekend so far. I mean, the weekend's over. We've got a game tonight, but saw the New England Patriots defeat the Chargers by a score of 16-3.
Talk about boring.
I honestly I wanted to stay up for this game and watch it, but it was 6-3 going into the half, and I was like, again, I had to work in the morning, and this game sucks. Like it just sucked. And I mean the Chargers, what are you doing? Didn't we score 39 points in the Patriots like a month ago? Like what are we doing? How do you score 3 points? And then on top of that, you intercept Drake May twice. One of them is on the 9-yard line, and you come away with no points.
And sacked them a billion times.
Like, what are we doing? The Chargers should be embarrassed. They should be
very hard to watch.
Yeah, like I get it. They got a lot of injuries on the offensive line, and it was actually kind of funny when they did, how NBC does the player introductions thing at the beginning, and they had like the PFF numbers for everybody.
Oh my God,
and every single one of their offensive line was literally the last ranked person for that particular position. That was kind of funny, and it made me chuckle. But it's just like, what are you doing? I am going to bet you that before the end of the week, Greg Roman will be out of the job.
I don't even know if it's Greg Roman. I think this is just the type of team that your boy Harbaugh likes to run. I mean, it's the same thing he ran in Michigan. It's supposed to be a run-oriented, power-style offense, but I don't know what happened. I didn't really get an explanation with Hampton yesterday. They showed him on the sidelines, warming up. He was even in uniform for that game. And he didn't play. He didn't even take a snap. This is the last game, possibly your last game of the season. They need to put him on the field because he's the best running back they have. And they completely put themselves in a hole, number one. Herbert, that's another one. Remember how often they used to compare Herbert to Josh Allen when he first came in the league?
Not even close. Yep. I don't even put, and I've said this on our channel before, and you guys have given me shit about it, but I don't even put Justin Herbert in the top 10 anymore. No. I don't think the talent's there. I don't think the talent is there. I think the dude's too distracted. I think he's too injured. And I just don't think that he is the type of player that can elevate those around him. Because you know what? You look at a lot of the people on that roster, a lot of the names on that roster, and I got to be honest with you, it strikes me as very Billsy. Like their wide receiving core isn't that much better than our wide receiving core. And James Cook is way better than any of the three schlubs that they got running the ball over there. So, I mean, and you've got, you could throw Ladd McConkey's name at me, but they don't throw the ball to him at all, ever. And Keenan Allen is 200 years old. So, like, I don't know what we're doing here, like, at all. But the fact that you've only mustered up 3 points against the New England Patriots, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
I think the other thing of note out of this game is what is the fact that it was basically 6-3 and then 9-3 going through the third quarter for New England. I mean, what does that tell you about the New England Patriots? Like, I think if anything, it showed that they're not as good as a lot of people have been making them out to be, which we've been saying on this channel for quite a while now.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, apart from what we say about them, they're still getting the job done. And that's all that matters. They're getting the job done. They're winning. So regardless how we feel about them, until they have a real true test, think about it. If the Chargers had any resemblance of an offense, even an average offense, they probably would win that game.
Easy.
But they had that offense is just bad. I mean, I watched it during the season. I just don't. It's so boring. Harbaugh's a boring coach. He likes a boring offense. And this is a different league. This is why I don't understand why people would even hire him to begin with. He's an old-fashioned player. He's an old-fashioned coach.
It
He's right.
also doesn't help when you have a quarterback playing with a broken hand for half a year.
Yeah, but still, though, I mean, it's not like it stopped him from playing.
Yeah.
I'm
You
just
know,
saying it doesn't
Josh
help.
Allen's old body's broken up. He's still up there slinging it.
Yep.
Think about
That's
all the
because Josh
quarterbacks.
Allen's not human.
Here's another thing. Think about all the quarterbacks that have fallen
Hmm.
from around Josh Allen, and he's still standing tall.
Yeah.
Burrow, injuries. Lamar Jackson, injuries. Now Mahomes, injuries. Herbert, injuries. These guys are all these guys are all getting beat up. They're getting banged up. You know why they're getting banged up? Because they're not Josh. Josh has the ability to move out of the pocket, do whatever he manipulate the defense however he wants. None of those guys can do it. Mahomes can do it to a certain extent, but I think he gets too much credit for it because he turns the ball over a lot, and people don't say nothing about it. He puts a lot of turnover worthy throws in the air, and nobody says anything about it.
Yeah. I agree. So last thing then before we look ahead, and we will obviously have a pregame show for you guys a little bit later on in the week. We have Houston and Pittsburgh tonight. What are your thoughts on that real quick?
I'm picking Pittsburgh. I think it's going to be a low scoring, hard fought game. Um, and I'm just hoping Pittsburgh has the experience to pull out the win.
Um, I wouldn't take any team on this one. I just don't know who's going to win this game. I do know that I do like the under 38. I absolutely like the under 38. Is that where it's at still?
Yeah, 38.5 right now. Yeah, Houston.
This very well could be a New England type game. The game from yesterday with New England.
Yeah.
I can see that as a final. 16-10, 16-7, 16-3, something weird like that. I just don't see this game even reaching 38 total points.
Mm-mm.
I don't know who you pick in this game because, like I told you about Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh always sneaks their way in. Somehow, some way, they get some wins they shouldn't even have gotten. Houston on the road, having to travel in the cold, advantage Pittsburgh. But I just don't know if Pittsburgh has enough offensively to score on Houston. And that's what they need to do. Like Houston can very well shut them down and just Stroud gets 2 field goals, and this game is a 6-0 final.
Yeah.
Is very well what you could see. I wouldn't be shocked at all with this game. Now, what would shock me is if both teams score over 25 points.
Yeah.
If either one of these teams score over 25 points, I'd be shocked.
Houston's more likely to do it, I think, but yeah, because you never know what Pittsburgh Steelers defense is going to show up.
Yeah, that's the variable right there is their defense. You know, sometimes they'll show up, sometimes they don't. I mean, don't forget their defense is old.
Yeah.
They got a very old defense. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they have the oldest defense in the league right now. So,
Well, I guess go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I guess the question for me then for both of you guys is which one of these teams do you want to win more to go into Foxborough next week and beat the Patriots?
I
Because
think Houston.
I don't, if the Bills win, great. I feel confident about going into beat the Patriots. I think we could do it. But there's a small part of me that wants zero of the insufferability of listening to that team being hosting an AFC championship game.
Mm. Well, I will say this: Houston, as many sacks as May takes, he probably wouldn't finish a game against Houston.
I can agree with that. I think Houston would have an easier time against New England than Pittsburgh would, but I'm convinced both of them could beat New England.
Pittsburgh already did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, the thing is, though, if you were to ask me to pick of the two, I think Houston alone because of their defense, just the defense alone, and with the amount of sacks that May takes, you might as well just double it against that defense.
Yeah.
So I think how many times he get sacked last night? Was it 6 times?
6 or 7. Yeah.
So I would not shock me if they played Houston and Houston sacked him 12, 13 times in that game.
See it.
I can
If
honestly
that,
see that happening because the kid takes a lot of sacks, and that defense, you cannot do that.
Yeah. And that's going to lead to some turnovers, some fumbles. Mm-hmm.
And that just puts Houston in the position to score off their defense rather than have to depend on their offense. That's the one thing I can probably think of, but it's going to be, I can tell you this, it's going to be a boring game tonight. So don't be shocked.
So that takes us to Denver next week, and we will have a pregame show for you guys where we break down the matchup. We'll look at all the injuries and everything going on for our Bills as they head to the Mile High City to take on the Denver Broncos. And I feel good about it. I'm glad we beat Jacksonville, and I am ready. So, guys, any final thoughts before we wrap up the show for today?
Go Bills.
Go Bills, one game at a time.
Yes, sir. So that is our show, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Leave your comments down below. Let us know what you guys think about the everything we talked about today. Do we have some crazy outlandish takes? I'm very curious to hear what everyone else thinks about that final sequence of the game, what you guys would have done if you would have taken a knee, and also about our dialogue about the NFL and perhaps rigging the middle of that game there. I'm very curious what our audience thinks about that. So let us know. We appreciate the discourse. And with that, guys, have yourselves a fantastic evening and take care.